There was a jar on the top shelf of my grandmother's cupboard. Small, cloudy glass, a ribbon of dark plums suspended in a salty sweet syrup. I remember the sound when she unscrewed the lid, the steam rising like a memory. That first sip tasted like home and like the sea at the same time. It made coughs soften and stories come alive. Today, we start with that jar and the question, how do we bring pantry remedies like that into our modern kitchens in ways that honor tradition and keep our families safe?
That memory sets the scene perfectly. Hello and welcome to Earthy Remedy. I'm Fiona Thompson, and with me is Sam Nong Bradley. Today, we're exploring Healing Kitchens of the Diaspora, how immigrant and family pantry wisdom becomes practical, safe kitchen remedies in new homes.
We're joined by three guests who bring different pieces of this puzzle. Dr. Mira Alvarez, a cultural food historian who tracks how recipes travel. Ashen Wen, a community herbalist raised on pantry remedies. And Dr. Marcus Lee, a clinical pharmacist who helps us keep traditions safe in the context of modern medicines.
Thanks so much for having me. I study how food moves with people, what stays, what adapts, and why certain preserved items become care rituals in new places. That jar you described, Samnong, is exactly the kind of object that carries both flavor and memory.
Hi, everyone. So glad to be here. I grew up helping my mom make rice vinegars and spice pastes, and those pantry jars were our first medicine chest. I'm excited to share practical swaps and low-risk ways to use those remedies at home.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm here to help translate safety, which preserved foods are fine as low-dose kitchen remedies, where interactions can occur, and when to seek medical advice. We'll close with clear red flag language listeners can use right away.
Quick roadmap, we'll hear origin stories, cover evidence and safety, walk you through 2 cook-alongs, a cooling preserved plum sip and a heirloom spice stew, and then show a quick low-risk preservation method. We'll end with a 7-day micro-trial you can try at home.
Segment 1. Story and Context. Mira, tell us about how these preserved pantry items become more than food in diasporic communities.
When families migrate, ingredients shift. Sometimes a plum becomes a dried apricot because that's what's available. Sometimes a salt preserve is shortened because refrigeration is new. But the function, comfort, digestion, warming, or cooling stays. Those jars are portable culture. They're instructions for care across generations. I see that in clinics, people bring a spoon of something from home asking if it's okay. The same practice can be soothing or risky, depending on dose, preservation, and who is taking it. That's why we emphasize small doses and clarity on who it's for.
From a nutrition perspective, these pantry items often carry bioactive compounds, organic acids in pickles, polyphenols in preserved plums. They can support digestion or mood in small amounts, but bioavailability and dose matter. We need to be precise when recommending them as therapies.
Mira, any surprising shifts you've seen in recipes once families settle in a new climate or market?
Yes, salt levels often drop because people worry about hypertension, so flavor is preserved with vinegar or spices instead. Or long ferments become quick refrigerator infusions because people lack a cool, stable place to cure foods. Those adaptations are survival strategies, both cultural and microbiological.
That leads us to safety. Segment 2, Evidence and Safety Framing. Marcus, start us off. What are the main preservation risks listeners should know about?
3 quick points. 1. Botulism risk in low-acid and properly processed preserved goods, particularly home-canned vegetables, some fermented pastes, and oil-infused herbs, can be serious. 2. High salt preserved foods can affect blood pressure and interact with certain medicines. 3. Herbs preserved in alcohol or oils can interact with prescription drugs via liver enzymes or anticoagulants. If you have an implanted immune suppression, are pregnant, or on blood thinners, check with your clinician before trying concentrated preserved remedies.
To add, from the evidence side, most small culinary doses, like a tablespoon or 2 of a lightly pickled infusion, are safe and can provide supportive benefits. But when people take concentrated syrups or large daily doses because it's traditional, that's when the evidence and safety diverge.
Exactly. And here's practical red flag language you can use. If you notice severe stomach pain, vomiting that won't stop, double vision, difficulty swallowing, or muscle weakness after eating a home-preserved item, seek emergency care and tell clinicians you consumed a home-preserved product. For non-emergency concerns, new rashes, unusual bruising, or unexpected bleeding, contact your pharmacist or provider and mention any herbs or preserved foods you started within the last week.
That's really helpful, and we'll repeat that red flag script at the end. Fiona, anything to add about drug interactions to flag for listeners?
Yes, some preserved spices and herbal infusions affect CYP enzymes, which can change how drugs are metabolized. Common interaction categories to name: anticoagulants like warfarin, certain antidepressants, and some blood pressure medicines. If you're taking ongoing prescription drugs, check with a pharmacist before adding a regular preserved herb regimen.
Okay, bridge moment. We're going to do a quick checklist so anyone cooking along can prep. I'll read slowly. A small pot, a clean jar with lid, a strainer, measuring spoons, a mug, fresh or dried plums, or a swap, see below, ginger, rice vinegar or apple cider vinegar, honey or maple syrup, cinnamon, salt, and a notebook for your micro trial. Keep portions single serve. If you don't have fresh plums, you can use dried plums or prunes. I'll note swaps in the recipe. Ready?
And a quick note on cleanliness. Wash your jar and lid in hot soapy water and rinse well. For the quick refrigerator method we'll show later, make sure your hands and utensils are clean. This is Lou Tech, but details matter.
Segment 3. Cooling Preserved Plum Sip. This is a single-serve infusion inspired by sweet, sour plum preserves used across kitchens to soothe the throat and settle digestion. I'll read the ingredient list slowly.
Ingredients for 1 serving. 1 cup, 240 milliliters, water. 2 small preserved plums or 2 pitted dried plums or prunes. 1 slice of fresh ginger, about 1 teaspoon grated. 1 teaspoon rice vinegar or apple cider vinegar. 1/2 teaspoon honey or maple syrup, optional. A tiny pinch of cinnamon, optional. If you need an alcohol-free swap for some preserved plums kept in spirits, use store-bought prunes or an equal mix of plum jam diluted with water. Keep it light.
Quick benefit notes as you listen. Prunes and plums bring polyphenols that can be mildly digestive supportive. Ginger helps with motility and anti-nausea. A touch of vinegar adds acidity that aids digestion and reduces microbial risk in small, refrigerated preparations.
Step by step. Step 1. Pour 1 cup water into a small pot and bring to a gentle simmer. Don't let it roar to a boil. Step 2. Add the preserved plums or prunes and the grated ginger. Step 3. Lower heat to a gentle simmer and let it infuse for 3 minutes. This extracts flavor but stays culinary. Step 4. Remove from heat and let cool for 1 minute. Then stir in 1 teaspoon vinegar and, if you like, 1/2 teaspoon honey. Step 5. Strain into a mug. Taste. If it's strong, dilute with an extra 1/4 cup water. That's the dilution math. Start concentrated, then dilute to a single serving so you're not ingesting a medicinal dose.
Smell the steam when you lift the lid. You'll notice plum and spice together. If someone in the household is pregnant or on blood thinners, avoid concentrated preserved plum syrups. Stick to this single small infusion once in a while, and consult a clinician if you plan to use daily. For safety, keep this infusion refrigerated if not consumed within a couple hours. If you make a small batch, store in the fridge and use within 48 hours. Don't can this at home without tested recipes. And again, if you take anticoagulants or are immunocompromised, check with your pharmacist before trying preserved herb concentrates regularly.
Who is this for? Great for people wanting a soothing sip for mild digestive upset or a gentle throat soothe. Who to avoid? Infants, pregnant people who weren't cleared by their provider for certain preserved herb intakes, folks on blood thinners or immune-suppressing meds without pharmacist clearance.
And remember the micro-trial idea. Try one small serving in the evening for 3 nights and notice digestion, sleep, and how your throat feels. Track 1 or 2 simple metrics, sleep quality on a 1 to 5 scale, and whether digestion feels calmer. And stop if you notice any adverse reaction.
Segment 4, Heirloom Spice Stew. This is a heartier, savory way families turn pantry spices into a restorative stew. We'll keep it affordable and flexible. Fiona, please read ingredients slowly.
Ingredients for 4 modest portions: 1 tablespoon neutral oil, 1 medium onion diced, 2 cloves garlic minced, 1 teaspoon grated fresh ginger, 1 teaspoon ground coriander, 1 teaspoon ground turmeric, 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon smoked or sweet paprika, 1 cup dried lentils or 2 cups cooked beans, 4 cups low-sodium vegetable or chicken stock, 1 medium sweet potato peeled and cubed, 1/2 cup preserved spice mixture, or 1 tablespoon preserved chili paste if you have it. Otherwise, use 1 tablespoon tomato paste. Salt to taste, start with a 1/2 teaspoon. Juice of 1/2 lemon at the end. Substitutions: if lentils aren't available, use canned chickpeas. Rinse and add later.
Those preserved spice mixtures in jars, often a blend of roasted chilies, garlic, and salt, carry a lot of flavor. If you're worried about salt, use half the amount and add lemon at the end to brighten. You can also roast a handful of spices and grind them for a fresher, lower salt option.
Step 1. In a pot over medium heat, warm 1 tablespoon oil until shimmering. Step 2. Add onion and sweat until translucent, about 5 minutes. Step 3. Add garlic and ginger. Stir for 30 seconds until aromatic. Step 4. Add ground spices, coriander, turmeric, cinnamon, paprika, and toast gently for 30 seconds so they bloom. Step 5. Stir in lentils and cubed sweet potato, then add 4 cups stock. Step 6. Bring to a gentle simmer, then cover and cook until lentils and sweet potatoes are tender, about 20 to 25 minutes. Step 7. If using preserved spice paste, stir in a small spoon at the end. Start with 1 teaspoon. Taste, then increase if needed. Step 8. Finish with lemon juice and a drizzle of oil.
Nutritionally speaking, this stew gives fiber, plant protein, beta-carotene from the sweet potato, and anti-inflammatory compounds from turmeric and ginger. Using low-sodium stock and minimal preserved paste keeps it accessible and safe for people watching blood pressure or sodium intake.
Tasting tip: if the stew tastes flat, don't add more salt immediately. Add a squeeze of lemon and a little more toasted spice. Acidity and spice wake up the palate without relying on sodium.
Portion guidance. A serving is about 1 to 1.5 cups. If you're testing this as part of the 7-day micro trial, have 1 modest bowl at a meal and note how your digestion and mood respond over the next 24 hours.
Segment 5. Safe preservation options. Mira, can you describe the difference between a quick refrigerated infusion and a traditional long cure?
Traditional long cures rely on careful acid ratios, salt, and sometimes prolonged fermentation in a cool environment. They often involve established recipes passed down with exact ratios and long curing times. The quick refrigerated infusion method is a low-risk alternative. You combine the ingredient with an acid, like vinegar, or a high-salt brine, but keep it chilled and use within a short time frame, 48 to 72 hours for most infusions. It's a pragmatic adaptation for kitchens without cool cellars.
From a safety perspective, refrigerator-only infusions drastically lower botulism risk compared with low-acid room temperature cures. Important rules: use clean jars, acid ratios for canning only from tested recipes, don't home can low-acid foods without guidance, and always label with a made-on date. Microbial red flags to discard: bulging lids, off smells, sour, rotten, or unexpectedly yeasty, visible mold, or sliminess. If you see any of those, throw it out and err on the side of caution. A simple fridge infusion method: Pack clean jar with fruit or herbs. Cover with vinegar diluted to a palatable level. For example, 1 part vinegar to 3 parts water for flavor, but when in doubt, increase vinegar. Close the jar and refrigerate. Use within 48 hours for best flavor and lowest risk. For a salt brine quick pickle, dissolve 1 tablespoon salt per cup of water. Pour over vegetables and refrigerate. Use within 72 hours. Keep these small and single serve to avoid long-term storage mistakes.
And a nutrition safety note. Acidifying with vinegar not only improves flavor, but reduces pH to levels that discourage many pathogens. Still, acidifying at home is not a substitute for tested canning recipes if you intend shelf-stable storage. Refrigeration is the safer route for improvised methods.
Segment 6, the 7-day micro trial and reflection. We'll walk listeners through a simple, safety-first trial so they can test one pantry remedy thoughtfully. Fiona, lead the steps.
Step 1. Pick one recipe this week, either the cooling preserved plum sip or a single modest bowl of the heirloom spice stew. Step 2. Record baseline notes tonight. Sleep quality 1 to 5, digestion comfort 1 to 5, and overall mood 1 to 5. Step 3. Try the recipe once a day for 7 days at a consistent time. Keep servings modest. Step 4. Record daily notes and any side effects. Step 5. If you notice adverse signs, new rashes, unusual bruising, severe digestive upset, or anything marked as flagged, stop immediately and contact your clinician. After 7 days, compare notes and decide if it's worth continuing at a low frequency.
If you're on medication, check with your pharmacist before starting the 7-day trial. If you can, give your pharmacist this short statement. I'm planning a 7-day trial of a low-dose preserved plum infusion-steeped spice stew. Can you advise on interactions with my current meds? That phrasing helps pharmacists give focused guidance. Culturally, it's also okay to adapt. Ask elders about why they used a particular jar. Sometimes it was a flavor preference, sometimes a seasonal medicine. Honor that by keeping the flavor memory and reducing dose or changing storage to fit your current kitchen. Respect tradition while being pragmatic. Share the adapted recipe with family and explain why you shortened curing time or reduced salt. That keeps the practice alive but safer for more people, especially in new climates and with different health patterns.
Before we close, a quick recap and the safety script once more. Dr. Marcus, give the red flag emergency lines again, short and clear.
If after eating a home-preserved item you experience severe abdominal pain, persistent vomiting, difficulty breathing, double vision, muscle weakness, or difficulty swallowing, seek emergency care immediately and tell clinicians you consumed a home-preserved food. For non-emergency concerns, unexpected bleeding, rashes, or new medication side effects, contact your pharmacist or provider and say what you ate and when. Those 2 short scripts can speed care and avoid delays.
We've kept on-air methods culinary and low dose, included refrigeration first options, and named interaction categories to watch for. The full clinician-reviewed safety sheet with tested ratios and printable recipe cards is in the show notes. Download that before you try anything new.
Reflection. I'll say this. The jar on my grandmother's shelf wasn't just a remedy. It was a promise, a way of showing care. You can honor that promise by adapting recipes with curiosity, humility, and attention to safety. Start small. Taste the memory. Then make it your own with respect.
And if you try a simple swap, like using less salt and more lemon, share that with your family. Adaptation is part of keeping traditions alive. Preserving culture is not about freezing recipes in time. It's about translating them so they're meaningful and safe for people live now. That's a practice of love.
Okay, call to action time. Try one recipe this week. Tag @EarthyRemedy with a photo or a 15-60-second voice note telling us what you tried and how it felt. And download the clinician-reviewed safety sheet and printable recipe cards linked in the show notes before you start your microtrial.
We'd love to hear your stories. Grandmother jars, kitchen swaps, small experiments that felt like care.
Share your photo or voice note and help keep this knowledge alive, safely. Remember our sign-off. Listen to your body. Trust the earth. Feel the difference.
Thanks to Mira, Asha, and Dr. Marcus for joining us, and thank you for listening. Subscribe to Earthy Remedy for more recipes, safety-first guides, and practical herbal wisdom.
You've got this. One small step. Test gently, ask questions, and share what you learn. We'll see you next episode.